Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ox Talks. It's Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. Apologize for not getting a video up yesterday. I had to be out of town for some meetings, which lasted most of the day. By the time I got back yesterday evening, just didn't have enough time to get a video up. But thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the videos. It means a lot to me. Thanks for subscribing to this channel. Liking the material, hitting the thumbs up notification as much as we can. Let's continue to build the community. Let's please continue to share these videos with family, friends, colleagues, and coworkers. Yes, there's an element to this channel where I do try to just simply read to you some of the news that I see unfolding throughout the day. I think is of importance to bring to your attention, especially if you guys, there's a lot of you that are buried in a 9-to-5 job all day. You don't have the time to review all this stuff. You get home in the evening, you have other obligations, family obligations. If you can take 10, 12, 15 minutes of your day and tune in here, pick up some of the information that is unfolding for the day that's important, and then maybe getting some additional feedback or input from me relative to my business operations, relative to my preps, relative to security, and also physical fitness. So trying to cover all those things, if not daily, at least several times throughout the week to keep hammering these points home. We can all hear the negative economic news, the housing crisis unfolding, the commercial real estate crisis unfolding, the debt market crisis unfolding, inflation, get bombarded with that. But I'm trying to level this channel out with some other information for all of you as well. Let me just deal with the first, and actually the only article I'm going to share with you today that deals with the economy. And this says, this is out of Market Watch. It says, trouble for the U.S. economy. The Empire State gauge sinks to its lowest level since the pandemic. It says the numbers, a survey of business conditions in the New York region sank to the lowest level in January since the outbreak of the pandemic in 2020, a sign of trouble brewing for the U.S. economy. We know that trouble is already brewing. It's here now. We're experiencing this every day in our daily lives. So the New York Federal Reserve's Empire State Business Conditions Index, a gauge of manufacturing activity, meaning what we're making in the state of New York, it says plunged 29.2 points to a negative 43.7, the regional Fed bank said Tuesday. It says it's the second lowest reading ever. The biggest drop took place in the depths of the pandemic in May of 2020. It says economists had expected a negative 4 reading. According to a survey by the Wall Street Journal, any number below 0 indicates deteriorating conditions. So they expected a negative 4 reading, and they got a negative 29.2 reading, which now takes it to a negative 43.7. Boy, that is again a huge miss on the forecast. This is over the past 2 months, the index has plummeted 58.2 points, largely because of a decline in new orders. Decline in new orders means that customers are not placing orders, obviously. Why are they not doing that? Is their business slow? Can they not afford to buy and pay for the things they're ordering? We have a general downturn in the business climate. It says orders are an indication of future business activity. You have to put the orders in, get your merchandise in your pipeline so you can sell it. It doesn't happen like that. They have to think ahead and get things in the pipeline. Those orders are not being placed. It says the latest reading is even lower than at any time during the severe 2007 to 2009 Great Recession. Key details, the index for new orders dropped 38.1 points to negative 49.4 in January. Shipments fell 24.9 points to negative 31.3 points. Unfilled orders continue to shrink significantly, and delivery time shortened, which usually happens when business dries up, and employment and hours worked also contracted. So new orders contracting, existing orders in the pipeline were getting filled, and so there's less of pipeline orders, less to be accomplished. Shipping times are getting less. So that's all negative as it relates to the business climate, specifically in New York. I will be hearing, I believe we'll be getting the Philadelphia Fed numbers here pretty quickly. So we'll see if those are consistent with New York. What are you seeing for the business activity in general in your areas, folks? I think it's very interesting that these figures are so bad, and the economists always miss the mark by so much. Let's touch base on a couple other things. One is I saw one of the Fed speakers out today kind of walking back this whole quick rate cut issue, saying that, well, the Fed needs to be very careful about how quickly they begin to cut rates. The stock market was down, not huge today, but it was down precipitously. The 10-year, the U.S. 10-year bond was up, I think, 11 basis points. Huge increase in that yield. And also the dollar rose substantially. That put a lot of pressure on gold and silver. So let's see how this continues to unfold. Let's shift gears. I got an update from, I think about a month ago. I did a video with a client, a friend of mine, who had basically, as part of his business, had accepted a wire transfer from a client. It was a $106,000 wire transfer, and the wire cleared. The next day, he shipped the items, the merchandise, and a couple days later, this was a Chase Bank who originated the wire to his account. It was a BofA account. And the wire was cleared, and again, he shipped everything out. He was no longer in possession of the merchandise, and Chase Bank sucked back the wire. Bank of America allowed that to happen. We've now sent at least 2 emails to the CEO of Bank of America. They had assigned some people to the file, said that they are working on it. Many more weeks have passed now, and I bet you're not surprised to hear that absolutely nothing has been done to facilitate the return of his $106,000 of wire funds to his business. So you need to be very, very careful with how you're conducting these business transactions. This is an experienced business owner. He's been doing this for a long time. How do you vet someone any better than getting clearance from their own bank on a wire transfer? So again, I want to give you the update on that. I'll continue to update you as more information is learned. But as of right now, nothing has changed. It's looking, unfortunately, very dismal. And what's going to happen is probably the next step is going to require some litigation. I was thinking about a case today that I had several years ago, and it emanated from a real estate matter. It was a lease of a restaurant space. In this case, my client was a pretty well-known chef, and he relocated from a different location where he was very, very, very successful based upon representations that this new project was going to be developing, that there was going to be hotels and restaurants and shopping district and, basically an entire community for him to flourish with this restaurant. And he basically entered into a long-term lease agreement for a space, began operations, but what happened was the surrounding retail space was not built out. The hotel space, as promised, was not built out. Now, mind you, these promises were not put in writing. They were not put in the lease as a condition to him having an obligation to pay his rent or have an obligation to continue, staying open as a daily, high-end dinner house. So we get to, this thing comes to a head, and it's becoming apparent that the rest of the development is not taking shape, and so he pulls out. The landlord, if you will, the owner of the space he was occupying and the surrounding acreage, which was now sitting there as basically vacant land, undeveloped vacant land, sued him. We filed a countersuit, and we took that case. It took about 2.5 years, or maybe it was even more than 2.5 years. But that case went to a jury trial. And in that case, what ended up happening was the jury found that that my client's cross claims, and we sued for misrepresentation, concealment, definitely fraud type claims, also breach of contract. But the jury returned on the cross complaint in that case a jury verdict of about $1.4 million. So in that case, it worked out for the client. But I recall about 60 days before that, we were in a settlement, before the trial took place, we were in a settlement conference. And we were sitting in that case, I believe in Judge's Chambers with a settlement conference coordinator. And the settlement conference coordinator basically was urging that my client take a very, very small amount of money in settlement, and actually, offer some funds to the other side for, at that time, what they were suing was for unpaid rent on a commercial lease obligation for the restaurant space. So we obviously declined that, felt that the merits of the case were worth pursuing through trial, and in that case, it was a big win for him. But the moral of the story is that I need to make sure that if there are representations being made to you as a business owner, especially if you're getting involved in a new lease, a new space, whatever kind of space it is, office space, commercial space, restaurant space, you need to make sure that all those things are set forth in either in the actual contract or an addendum to the contract, so that if there's ever a dispute, or if the other party does not follow through on what was expected of them from your perspective, then you have something to look to say, well, look, you did not perform A, B, C, and D. Those were preconditions to me having to perform, C, D, E, and F, or D, E, and F. So I just want to reiterate that. I know that's more legal focused, but it was on my mind this morning as I was hearkening back to that case. And I remember seeing that settlement conference coordinator at the courthouse maybe a month or two after that jury verdict was handed down, and he just kind of shook his head, because in that case the analysis was wrong, and the jury saw what had happened and awarded my client accordingly. And in that case, they didn't want to pay. I believe they filed an appeal. But what we had done is, once we got the judgment, we recorded liens against all of their property holdings. In this case, it was a big corporation, and they needed to refinance some of their properties. So our judgment lien came up in chain of title, and they were stuck. They had to either not follow through with their business deals and close the sales or the refinances, or they had to pay our judgment. We got paid. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that story. I know we're early in the week, but I think I'm going to have some time on Sunday where I can maybe lay out, grab the table again and do another video focused on preps. I want to start expanding the scope of the channel into those kind of things as it relates to solutions for you guys, because I don't know, share your comments below, but I get frustrated and disheartened kind of seeing a regurgitation of the same things every day. The market's up, the market's down, the Fed's going to cut, the Fed's not going to cut. There's a whole lot of events transpiring across the world. There's more attacks right now in the Houthi situation. U.S. continues to launch attacks. We have the Russia-Ukraine We have the Israeli conflict, and none of this seems to really have any impact. It just kind of goes from day to day to day. Meanwhile, all of us here on the ground are stuck with higher prices, falling wages, and things that we need to be aware of. So again, it's controlling what we can do. I'll continue to come out here and to also try to provide and lay out solutions for all you guys as we continue to embark on the unfolding of 2024. With that being said, I'm going to be leaving here to get my workout in about an hour and a half. Physical fitness is huge right now, guys. We've got to be fit and stronger. So we can be better prepared to not only deal with opportunity, but better prepared to cope with more severe downturns and more severe issues that are impacting the economy. In better shape you are, the stronger you are, not only physically but mentally, the more resilient you are, the better your immune system is. Again, not giving you guys medical advice, diet advice, but the diet's really important. What you eat every day is more important, actually, than how much you work out. Please get your steps in, get some physical strength training in today, some push-ups, some sit-ups, keep that water happening. I think I told you guys I was up about 8 or 10 pounds after the holidays. I've taken about 5.5 pounds of that back off. And that was in about 10 days after I got back from that Las Vegas trip. So look, you all can do it. It's just a matter of making tweaks. I'm not grabbing those couple of sweet things in the evening. I'm cutting out some of the munches that crept into the diet during the day. I'm doing that gallon of water every day for my body size. Just making some smart changes, get some more steps in, trying to get another half an hour of steps in every day. That makes a big difference. So with that being said, we're at about 16 minutes. Have a great rest of your evening. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.